Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Lau with Kenchan Crafts, and today I am going to share with you all of my fountain pens for my December currently inked. I really like the colors that I chose, and I hope you guys like it too. And if you haven't seen any of these colors, hopefully this video will help you decide on some new colors of inks that you might like. So let's turn the camera around and see all the pens and inks. All right, this is my lineup for December. There's a lot of pilots and sailors in here, and I have a total of 12 pens this month. Of course, there's a lot more that I have inked up as well, but these are the ones that I wanted to showcase for December. This is all of it, and so let's get down to business. So the first pen in the December lineup is my Sailor Hachimonjia Kubozakura. This one comes with like a pink rose gold trim. It is absolutely lovely and divine. If you love a good pastel pink, dusty pink colors, this one is perfect for that. And I have this in a medium nib, so it handles those really drier, dusty pinks really well. One of my favorite dusty pinks, it is Rose Gold Antiqua, and I don't want to put any inks that are shimmers in my sailors, so that's kind of sad because Rose Gold Antiqua is a shimmer. It is a well-behaving shimmer, but it is, nonetheless, it's a shimmer, and it's also not a sailor ink, so I prefer to put sailor inks in my sailor pens just because I covet my sailors so much that I want to put inks that I know have been tested in sailors. And I say that, but there are very, very few inks that I will put into my sailor pens that are not sailor inks, and so just a few exceptions. I'm not going to say that I strictly put sailor into my sailor pens, but maybe like 99% of the time I do. So all right, and this pen comes with that lovely, if you could see that, it is a cherry blossom petal. So Kubozakura is basically a sakura or cherry blossom, and it is the cherry blossom tree. This pen is, I think Sailor does such a great job at making colors that represent certain things. This lovely light pink here is supposed to represent the petals of the sakura. This clear, transparent, brighter pink finial here represents the buds on the inside that are a brighter pink. And so, and I believe that the rose gold trims here represent the color basically of the tree, which is kind of like a brownish gold color. So all of this pen together, it's just so lovely. I mean, it definitely reminds me of the cherry blossoms in Japan, which I've never seen before, only in pictures, so that's what I'm reminded of. But someday when I do go to Japan, I am going to take lots of pictures of those cherry blossom trees and I will have memories. So this pen does pose. It is a medium nib. So for this month, I'm just going to create a little square here. Kind of do it big enough so you guys can see the properties of this color. Okay. All right, so this is my Sailor Krogier X Hachimonjia Kubozakura and this is a medium nib. The medium nibs on sailors write almost like a true medium, like a Western medium. It's just slightly thinner than most mediums, Western mediums, but it is definitely a lot thicker than a sailor medium fine. So it's a huge jump. If you want something between a medium fine and a medium, there really isn't. And medium fine is supposed to be the in-between of a fine and a medium, but medium fine to me just feels like a fine in Sailor. So that's something that I feel like Sailor could fix and like do something about, but that's what nib grinders are for. Sailor Progress Slim, Hachimochi Kubozakura, and the ink in here is a Kobe ink. Kobe is an ink that Sailor made for Nagasawa, and it is a Sailor ink. It has that signature Sailor chemical ink smell. And so this is Kobe Goshiyama Ochre. I love this ink so much. This is like a peachy dusty pink ink tone or color. It is pretty similar to J. Arban's Ridonk and I think Teranishi Opera Rose. So if you like those two colors, this one is very similar to that. I would say almost identical. If you don't really care for like the very subtle differences, it's pretty identical. But this is the Sailor version of those inks, and if you care for Sailor ink in a Sailor pen, then this is a good dusty pink peachy color to put in your Sailor pens. And as you can see here, it writes pretty lovely, juicy, and slightly wet. It is not a dry write. So I love this pen combination so much. I mean, just look at that. Lovely pastel pink with a peachy, dusty pink color. It's lovely. The next one is also a Sailor. So this is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Winter Rain. Now, I wanted to, showcase my Winter Rain Sailor Pro Gear Slim in the winter, but it has been outshadowed by some of my other beautiful Sailor Pro Gears because I now only want to collect Pro Gears, with very few exceptions. If a Pro Gear Slim is very limited and the finial or the nib has a different engraving on them, then I will get those Pro Gear Slims because I don't enjoy writing with them. They're not as comfortable, but if they look very beautiful and pretty and unique, then I do want them in my collection. Oh, and it has to be a colorway that I do like. All right, so this is the Winter Rain. It is a lovely light lavender with just a hint of pink undertone in it. And because this pen does have a milky pastel body, depending on the light, it does change between a lavender to like a deeper lavender to a soft pink, like a light pinkish purple. So basically a color changing body, and I really like that quality that Sailor puts in some of their pens. It's really cool. And the finial here is a transparent, almost milky. To me, I think of like lychee jelly. I love lychee jelly. I put lychee jelly in a lot of my like boba teas because I like my teas a little, boba tea sweet and fruity. So this reminds me of lychee jelly, and then this almost like taro, but a lighter version. So like Winter Rain, this pen makes me think of taro boba tea with lychee jelly. All right, so this in here, I have an Anderillium ink. So if you heard the difference between, so this is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim, and it's got a 21 karat medium fine nib. My Kubozakura has a 21 karat medium nib. The medium nib has a lot less feedback than the medium fine, and the medium fine on this Sailor Pro Gear Slim is also a smaller nib. So feedback will be a lot louder in a smaller nib and a smaller nib size. And then, depending on the lubrication of your ink, that also has an effect on it as well. This is my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Winter Rain. Oh, that feedback is just so lovely. It writes super smooth. Medium fine. This is Anderillium. Pompadour Contiga. Oh no, it's Cotinga. Cotinga Burgundy. And Aurelians have such long names. Okay, so this ink pen pairing combination is a little bit drier. It is not completely dry, because like I can see here. But I just love this color combination so much. Like, it's a burgundy color, which is somewhere between red and brown. But I do see some pink undertones here. It's such a lovely, lovely color. And I think it does pair fairly nicely with this lavender body. It's a nice complement. Next up is my Pilot Vanishing Point, the 60th Pilot Anniversary Kanreki Red. And I don't know, this lighting may not show the true beauty of this pen, but it has very, very like microscopic levels of shimmer within this body resin. It is lacquered, and then the black parts are matte. So I love the textile feel of the two different materials in my hand as I write. And, you know, the best part of the Vanishing Point is just the clicking. And so the clicking up here is matte, so I like it. And this, now I know there's a lot of controversy about this pen, where it is just another similar color to a red black or red gold Vanishing Point that came out just a couple years ago. And yes, I agree, Pilot could have done a lot more with this pen. But particularly to me, I do like a red and black combination. And because I've only been collecting fountain pens for 2 years, I haven't really collected a lot of Vanishing Points or cared to. And there's only very few Vanishing Points that I would collect. So this one, I thought, to me, was like the perfect one. And while I do not agree with a huge price tag increase, I did get this for a much better value. So at that price point that I got, I could justify the specialty of and anniversary of this nib, or this pen. So all right, yeah, if I were to have to buy this at 400, I would not, but definitely get it at, if you can get coupons, sales, do it if you like this colorway. All right, so let me see here, I have a dark red ink in here. Okay, this is my Pilot Vanishing Point. This is the 60th anniversary. Kanreki. I have this in a fine nib. Fine Pilots are just chef's kiss. Oh my gosh, I love writing with them so much. All right, and the ink in here is another Kobe ink. This is Kobe number 27. This is Conan Maroon. Okay, because it's a fine nib, it writes a little bit drier, but this Conan Maroon is very wet ink, so it is, I would say, like on a wetness scale from 0 to 10, this one is about like a 4. Yeah, about a 4. And it's wet enough that it glides across the paper like butter, and with a lovely feedback. So this is, oh my gosh, love, love, love. It's a bright red body with a darker maroon color, and I like that kind of a pairing. I don't like to write with bright reds. I have found that that is not my cup of tea. All right, the next pen here is my lovely Aurora 88. This is the Viaggio Segreto in Italia, which is the Secret Voyages in Italy. So this pen represents the secret of Volterra, which is the city where the mining of alabaster is founded, and the mining of the alabaster has been passed on from generation to generation, and every single mining location where they mine alabaster is unique. And so the ancient practice of mining this alabaster is the secret of this city. And alabaster is such a beautiful mineral found in the earth used to create a lot of beautiful carvings and sculptures. And I do believe that this color here on this pen really represents the alabaster so well. And then the pen also comes with this lovely green chatoyance that you can see sometimes, and then also kind of like just mother of pearl chatoyance throughout. And I just can't be happier with this pen. I love it so much. This pen does come with rose gold trims, which complement the cream color so well. The only thing that I feel like is a little bit detracts from the whole aesthetic of this pen is that it is a translucent pen, and so you can see the ink in there. I do have a dark ink in here, so you can see these darker parts. That's not part of how the pen looks originally, but I do think that it kind of adds a little bit of texture to the pen, which is fine to me. This is an internal piston filler, so it comes with an ink window right there, and I can see the level of ink. It is so lovely. The ink window, I feel like, is just perfect. It's so classic and nice. Yeah, does that pen not feel like dainty and expensive? I think it is. Okay, so the 18 karat Aurora nibs, right, like smooth like butter. And depending on your ink, between wet and dry, you will get varying feedback, and I do like the feedback that I get from this ink color. Okay, so this is my Aurora 88 Viaggio Segreto in Italia, Volterra. This is a medium nib. No. This is a fine nib. I don't want to go into a medium nib with Italian pens because that's extremely broad. And the ink in here is Color Verse Alpha Tauros. This one writes extremely wet. I believe that the Alpha Tauros is a wet ink, or like an average ink, and then Aurora nibs do write on the wet side. And then I also believe that this pen has been tuned to write a bit on the wet side, but I don't think it's like terribly wet. I think it's the perfect wetness. So on the scale from 0 to 10, I would say this wetness is about an 8. Okay, my next pen here is my lovely forest green Taiwan 30th anniversary Pilot Vanishing Point. And this pen became instantly popular this fall season. I think it's a perfect fall season pen, and I think it also flows really well into Christmas and winter so well too. So this gold hardware here is metal and lacquered, I suppose, but it isn't matte like the black one, and the body here is a matte forest green. So it's a beautiful, beautiful, lovely, lovely pen. If you don't have this one already, Yoseka and Muse pens do still carry stock of these pens, and it does retail for $320, or at Muse pens you can get it for about $280. Okay, so this one, there's not much to say. It's very similar to the other Pilot Vanishing Point. It feels great in my hands. And it's just great and lovely for quick note writing or note taking. This one is a medium nib, and it is extremely broad in comparison to the fine Pilot Vanishing Point. So Pilot Vanishing Point, '30th Taiwan forest green, medium nib. And the ink in here is another Kobe ink. As you know by now, probably, Kobe is my favorite ink by Sailor for Nagasawa. A lot of Kobe inks are really wet, and so they just lubricate your pen so well. But in here it's not like terribly wet because I know a Pilot medium is very wet. So this is Kobe Futatabi-san Park Green. Okay, so on the wetness scale, this would be about a 7. And it is, you know, it's just a lovely, lovely ink. And I feel that Pilot pens write so well that, you know, part of their, the machinery of their pens allow for the, you know, for the inks to dry pretty well. But, you know, again, that depends on pen, ink, and paper. But I do love a wet ink, so I feel like this is a perfect wetness for me too. So anywhere between 6 and 8 is a good wetness for like smooth writing. Next up is my Sailor Pro Gear. This is my Sanctuary Blue. It is a green as well as a blue. So the Sanctuary Blue represent like the ocean, and the island itself is a sanctuary surrounded by the blue waters. And of course the green represents the turtles, and so it comes with this beautiful turtle rod in here, which you can see much better in natural lighting. Oh, look at that. So pretty. And then, yeah, it comes with champagne gold, which is always, I think, a lovely neutral match to any Sailor color combination, which Sailor comes with a billion of. Yeah, this one is one of my Sailor Grails, and this one comes in, well, it was a broad nib, and I had this grounded to a journaler nib by Gina, and I absolutely love the writing experience of this journal nib. It's just so unique because most sailors are like, you know, they're very fine or they're very broad and juicy, you know, when you go above a medium. Now I have this in here, a very, very interesting ink. This is Mont Blanc Turquoise, and I believe this Mont Blanc Turquoise ink actually shows the most truest of a turquoise, because turquoises are supposed to be kind of green, but in the industry, the ink industry, turquoises look very blue and like sky blue to me. This one is a true turquoise, I think. So the ink kind of starts off as this, like what most turquoises do look like, and then it changes to like a seafoam green, which I believe looks like the true turquoise. All right, so this is my Sailor Pro Gear. This is the Bunga Box Sanctuary Blue. See, the lines that I get from a certain journaler nib are just so unique, and it gives it a new kind of flair, and I just love writing with it. It definitely makes me write differently, like makes me want to write differently. This is journaler. Beautiful. This is Mont Blanc Blue Series. Turquoise. Do you see this up here as it's drying? It's becoming that true turquoise, a little bit of seafoam greeny, and then when it's not dry, when it's wet, it's more blue. It dries to this lovely green, seafoamy green turquoise, and it is wet a bluer turquoise. So I just, oh my gosh, this is like one of my favorite Mont Blanc inks. So good. And for how wet it is, I'm a little shocked, but then Sailor mediums are wet, so I will say that. And I know that most Mont Blanc inks are dry. This is supposed to be a drier ink, hence the color change, but it comes off pretty wet. This is like an 8 in my wetness scale. Yeah, so it might take a while to dry. Next up is my Visconti Homo Sapiens. This is the Crystal Dream, because it comes with the ink window here and another ink window here. And the Visconti Homo Sapiens, it has one of the most interesting and lovely writing experiences. This nib it writes very differently from most of my Yovo nibs, obviously. The Sailor, Aurora, Pilot, they all have lovely different writing experiences because they do create their nibs in-house. So this is Visconti green. The ink in here is Visconti green, and as you can see, it's so much more blue than Montblanc's turquoise ink, when a green should be green and turquoise is more like blue. But this is one of my favorite shades of, I would consider this like a teal, like a blue teal, even though it's Visconti green. So the Visconti Homo Sapiens. Crystal Dream. And this is a fine nib. I absolutely love fine nibs. Western fines, Japanese mediums, Japanese fines. They're just so lovely. The ink is Visconti green. Wow, that is very dry. I'm not quite sure why it's so dry. I do believe that the nib is probably tuned a bit drier, which I'm okay with, because I do believe that the Visconti green is not a dry ink. It's more probably an average ink, and I know the Viscontis do write on the wet side, but this one does seem to write on the drier side, which is still fine with me because it wrote very smoothly. So in terms of dryness, this is probably like a 4 for me. The next pen is my Pelikan M1000. This is in the extra fine nib, which writes like a medium nib. And I've been using this pen to write names on envelopes for cards, and I am finding that it is much too thin for me to write large names on envelopes. So I can see why some people might want like medium or even broad Pelikan M1000s, because you can use them to embellish and flourish names on cards or envelopes. But again, that's not like an everyday thing. And so, but I do find that if I had a broad, it would have been lovely to use that to write names on envelopes. So this is a lovely like dusty, I would like a dusty turquoise. Yeah, I love it so much. I love this kind of bluish gray ink tone. So this is my Pelikan M1000 Black. This is an extra fine, and the ink is P.W. Eckermann Israel's Ziblau, and that means sea blue. I do think it looks like a sea blue. Let me just do it here. Oh my gosh. It didn't even dry, and I should have not put it up there. But yeah, this wetness scale is a 10. Pelikans are so wet. I mean, especially the M1000. The wetness is crazy. I think even with a Pelikan ink, it's still very wet, and Pelikan inks are dry to kind of counteract the wetness of the feed and nib. So this Eckermann Israel's Ziblau, because it's like a dusty blue with gray, I thought it would be a drier ink. I mean, obviously, even if it's dry, a Pelikan's gonna make it wet. So wetness scale 10. Yeah, but I do love this shade of blue. It is so beautiful and soft and just relaxing. Yeah. I love it. Okay. The next one is my lovely Kilk Celestial Luna. This is a Endless Pens exclusive with Christine, and everything about this pen is just so lovely. I love astrology. I love the moon, stars, space, galaxy, all that. Oh, it's so beautiful. And this is like, I would probably prefer more colorful stuff about the galaxy, but this one is more on the muted side of color because it is black and white, but it's still absolutely lovely. And everything about this pen I love so much. The one thing about it is I bought it in a medium nib, and this is a Bach nib, and Bach medium nib is extremely thick, almost like a Schmidt medium, like a BENU medium. So, but because it's so thick, it handles any shimmer ink like a champ. And I have one of the most prettiest shimmer ink in here. Okay, this is my Kilk Celestial Luna Endless exclusive. Medium. It is so smooth, and it's got a shimmer ink in here, and for it to be that smooth, it just means it's even smoother with a regular ink. So the ink is Dominant Industry. Periwinkle Twinkle. The name is so beautiful. It's super cute. Okay, so the wetness here I would say is about a 4, because Periwinkle Twinkle is a very dry ink, and it's a shimmer ink. It's supposed to be, most shimmer inks are dry. And so it does have beautiful shading, as you can see here. The wetter parts, you can see the shimmer, and the non-wet parts, the parts that dried really fast with shading, or has a lot of shading and very few shimmer. And I think that I like the contrast of, or just the complement of this gray body with a periwinkle color. So, lovely match. So this is my BENU Euphoria Sundae by the Pool by Eric Gama, an exclusive with Endless Pens. And it is a lovely turquoise teal pen. It's just every color that is me. And I have decided that I'm going to use this like a cold, wintry pen. And it's got a medium nib, so it writes extremely smooth as well. And here I have, oh, it's kind of drying up now. Yeah, wow, I used it up. Oh no. Okay, let me refill this pen and come back. Oh my gosh, I am so upset. I did not press the record button, and I had 2 pens that I recorded the inks for, and they were not recorded. So I'm just going to quickly go over what they were. So this is my Opus 88 Blue Sapphire, the demonstrator pen and it has a medium nib with ruthenium trims. And I have in here a lovely, the Fioritura Press Blue Crystal Blue Legacy. So you can see here it's kind of like a blue black, and it's got blue shimmers in it. So I think that my Opus 88 has handled it pretty well, and the Opus 88 has this knob at the end here that you can kind of control the flow of the ink. And so the more you open it, the wetter the flow is, the less that is opened, the drier the flow. So I think it's a nice way to control shimmer inks, because sometimes you want a wetter flow with shimmers. A shimmer in a pen that just feels super dry is not a pleasant experience ever. So I do not like to put shimmers in my extra fine nibs or like fine Japanese nibs. I just feel like it's pointless to put in there because one, not a lot of shimmers might come out or come through because the nib tines are so tight, and then if shimmers don't even show up, then it's just the ink without the shimmer. So might as well just use the ink without the shimmer. Yeah, I definitely tend to put my shimmers in mediums or fine Western fines that are a little bit broader. That way I can see the shimmers. So this one is such a lovely, gorgeous, beautiful pen. Again, my light does not do this complete justice, but I feel like this color matches so well with Crystal Blue Legacy. It is so nice. And then the last pen down here, you guys can see this gorgeous pinkish purple color. This is my Leonardo Memento Zero in Fioritura Viola. This is an Endless Pen exclusive with nibs and flourishes, and she designed this pen, and oh my gosh, I absolutely love the purple in this pen. If you compare this with my other purple Leonardo Memento Zero Grande, you can see this one has more blue. This one is like a true purple. So I do like both because I like a blurple and then I also like a purple. But I had envisioned that this one had more pink in it, but I don't really see a lot of pink. The only pink that I see is kind of here on the blind cap over here. Again, the light doesn't really show it, but this pink here is gorgeous. I wish I had more of it throughout this pen. And then you can also kind of see it on the grip section here. Like that lighter purple part right there is different from this dark purple. But I do believe this part is a little bit transparent, and I think that transparency causes the pink to show up. So this is my Fioritura Viola Leonardo Memento Zero. It's got rose gold hardware, and it's got an elastic fine, so it writes a bit on the broad side, kind of like a medium nib. And I just thought that Sugar and Spite Ferris Wheel Press was such a lovely pairing to it because it's got the pink that I wanted to see in this pen. So because I didn't see so much of it, I could still pair it with this ink that I envisioned the pen to look like. So I really love this color combination with this pen. Now I did this swipe here and my finger had some blue in it, so you could see if you mix Crystal Blue Legacy and Sugar and Spite, you can kind of get this lovely pink, purple, blue here. I think this part, this swatch that I made here was so pretty. But this is the true color of Sugar and Spite. And yeah, I only have one Leonardo this month, but that's okay. This is such a beautiful pen. I had to have it in this month. All right, so let's take a closer look at all of these lovely inks and inks. I kind of ordered it from like a pinkish brown to red, orange, green, blue, you know, just the rainbow gradient as I usually do. So yeah, all these beautiful colors. Like the top is kind of muted, dusty colors. Even some of these colors down here are kind of dusty. And I love it. And then you have the more bright, festive colors like Sugar and Spite, Van Diemen's Moonlit Lake, Mont Blanc Turquoise. Yeah, just lovely, lovely set of winter colors for this month and January as well. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. I had a fun time just showing you guys all my fountain pens for this month and their ink pairings. Just look at that. Oh, these fountain pens are so beautiful. That's what I love so much about fountain pens is they're just all so different, and they give you different writing experiences unless you have, you know, just collect one brand. So I have multiple brands and they give me different writing experiences, and I just love that so much. So let me know down in the comments what you have inked up for December and what kind of color themes, if you do have a theme that you chose for winter. And I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday, whatever you celebrate in December, and look out for my next couple of videos. I will be doing some reviews of Singular pens and do a giveaway as well, so look out for those videos. And again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.